Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love. Caught up in my tape. Caught up in my tape. Don't care what you say to me, I'ma bite your feelings out. Caught up in my tape. I miss you in the basement. But your brother was a good substitute for you. And if you love me, but you never let me.
I am Alia, Aluma, and we are here with Mathew Zimmerman, and we are going to be talking a bit about what he does here for Ralph Lauren in Hong Kong. So, Mathew, why don't you introduce yourself and start by telling us a little bit about you?
Sure. My name is Mathew Zimmerman. I work for Ralph Lauren. I currently am the senior director in charge of our luxury labels for buying, planning, and allocation for Asia and Europe. I'm originally from New York. I grew up there, upstate New York, and I went to Cornell, and I studied business and finance at Cornell. What I recognized was I hated reading the Wall Street Journal on the weekends, and I wanted to have a job that more aligned with my personal interests.
Right.
And so I challenged myself, what would I rather be reading on the weekends if it's not the Wall Street Journal? And every time I always picked up the style section. And I've always loved fashion, and I've always loved shopping, but I didn't realize that my business background was such a perfect fit.
When the roof was on fire, you never let me know. Say you're sorry, honey, but you never really show. And I can leave the party without ever letting you know. Without ever letting you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love without ever letting you know.
I got a job at Ralph Lauren in retail planning. So that means I was building the financial plans for the inventory that we were buying for our Ralph Lauren stores in North America. And I started focusing on menswear. And so it was a great fit for me because I got a really strong foundation in retail planning and how the financials work. All fashion companies exist because they make money. And if you're not making money, it's gonna end. And so really understanding how to be successful in terms of making money off of product and understanding then the flow of buying new product to fill your stores. The balance of how much you need versus how much you can sell, and then how much you have at the end of your season makes all the difference in terms of how much money you're making. And so I got a great start in planning. They sit right alongside the buyers in a company. And so I did all the financial plans. I'm essentially the checkbook, you know. In terms of the buying and planning function, and then also allocation, which I manage, it's like the three parts of my team. We interact with everyone from the designers who are designing the clothing to the people in the stores who are selling the clothing. So we will go to market, we will buy product in terms of, we will see the collection. Sometimes Mr. Lauren is there. The designers who work for Mr. Lauren are there to share with us the type of inspirations they have for a season. And then we work with the corporate merchandisers. They're the people that sit with the designers, and they're the ones who do the dollars and cents behind making the apparel. The designers design it, the merchandisers say this is how much money it can cost, and this is how we can get it done. And then you have sourcing, which gives you information. Those teams get the product from the factories in Italy. They're the ones who can say, like, oh, we can make this change, or we can't because the factories can do that or not. We work closely with supply chain because we will buy product and then we need to know when it's going to be in our distribution center so I can get it to that store on time for that special holiday in Tokyo, for example. And that's like a really important piece to know when the product is showing up, because if it doesn't show up on time, you missed it. So we work with those types of people, and then we work with all the people here in Hong Kong who help design our stores, who make the stores look beautiful on the inside, from the window displays to the interior designers to the people whose job it is to present the apparel in the store. They're called visual merchandisers. So I share with them what I've bought for the store, and then they know how to then hang it up in the store and make sure it looks beautiful. Everything in our store is planned. There's not one piece in a Ralph Lauren store that is not meticulously planned out. And that's something I didn't realize when I first came into this industry. But sitting here now, I can see there's so many people that touch every piece of apparel and then every piece inside that store. So there are team members who are managing the store team inside, the store staff. There are people who are running regional businesses, and so they're interested in the profit and loss for those stores. So from where I sit, I almost touch everyone in the company.
And I can leave the party without ever letting you know. Without ever letting you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love.
So I don't really have an average work day, but I think there's two types. There's, if I'm in Hong Kong, which is only half of my time, so if I'm in this office, an average work day could be I start the day in one of our stores, I walk through the stores with the team, I might be giving a product knowledge information to the store staff to teach them about the new collection that's arrived in the store. I'll be discussing the sales targets with the teams and trying to come up with new ways to drive business, whether suggestions about moving product around inside the store or suggesting that we move product between stores if it's selling in one place but not the other. So I spend a lot of my time when in Hong Kong analyzing the business and meeting with teams here to help drive improved business. So we would be reaching out to visual merchandising teams, suggesting how to highlight product that we need to sell more, or partnering with teams to make sure we can move product between stores. If I'm not in Hong Kong, I actually could be almost anywhere in the world. I'm in New York a lot to buy product, to meet with Mr. Lauren and his team for the runway collection or men's purple label. We sometimes buy that product in Milan as well, so that's where the design team will come and show us so that the different wholesale partners can buy that for the Europe market, so sometimes they do it there as well. In addition, I could be in any one of the big cities that I have stores in, visiting those stores. So in Asia, we have to spend a good amount of time in Tokyo, in Shanghai, Beijing, Hong Kong, of course. And then in Europe, which I just picked up, we'll be in London, Paris, Milan, Cannes, Stockholm, Munich. So when I'm in those markets, I'm meeting with store staff, teaching them about the product, telling them about what product is coming, and then also shopping the competition. It's really important for me to be in each market and understand who that customer is, and I get to do that by seeing what the other stores are selling nearby and seeing what they look like or seeing what they're wearing on the street. And so it's getting that knowledge so that I can go back and then buy the right product for that store. I think the biggest difference is based on the customer you're working for. Mm-hmm. And so it's always all about the customer. And so when covering the market in Asia, we have a very deep you need to build a very deep understanding of who the customer is in Hong Kong, who the customer is in Tokyo, who the customer is in Shanghai. And that makes a really big difference on the type of product you're buying, the sizes you're buying, what they're interested in, the different schedules during the year that they're buying product, the weather, that makes a huge difference. You know, product that you're gonna buy for New York is not always great for Hong Kong where it's so hot, 3/4 of the year. So understanding the consumers and what they're looking for makes a huge difference in terms of the product you're gonna buy. I think a first part is doing your research. So talking to as many people as you can, reading about things, if fashion is your passion, you should just dive into it. Read as much as you can. Create opinions about product, about designers, about different retailers. I would encourage everyone who wants to go into buying or planning or the business of fashion to get a job in fashion as soon as possible. And that means like getting a job at the mall. Go and work in a store. Understanding how customers shop and understanding how to service a customer is the foundation of every retailer. So if you're selling apparel or you're selling accessories, working in a store is so helpful. And so that makes a big difference and often can turn into a career. A lot of my peers at Ralph Lauren started working in the Ralph Lauren store near their house growing up. In addition, I would say business is a fantastic thing to study if you want to go into fashion, because understanding how to make money and understanding how the business works, the profit loss, the margins, understanding inventory and all of that makes an incredible impact on your career when you can speak to the financials, and that is a really great foundation. In buying and planning, this sweet spot is where you know the numbers and you know the product, because then you can interact with all the different teams, and it's kind of an unusual combination. So I encourage everyone who loves fashion to study that math, get in there and understand finance so that you can speak to product and then explain why it's going to make money and then how the choices you make will impact your business.
Just like money.